What's up? Me, back again, Analog Attack, and trapped the bits to have all the way from Baltimore, one more time, Mr. Tony Pence.
Thank you for having me again, Mike.
How you doing, mate?
Doing good
Is
since
it
the
late at night?
last.
Is
What's
it
that?
late? Is it late at night? It looks a bit dark.
Like 10 o'clock.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool. 10 o'clock,
yeah.
Friday night.
Friday night. Yep.
Right, okay.
But
Saturday morning here.
it's COVID. There's nothing to do anyway. So
Exactly. What better way to spend the time with talking to a mate about records,
absolutely, I love
right?
it.
So today's
Yeah.
topic, America, the 80s, hardcore, melodic. That's basically it, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Again,
You
kind of a
cast.
wide, kind of a wide net again, but
Yeah.
I think we've gone for a few of the less obvious choices, maybe. So
Yeah. I think so as well. It was one of those things where it was like I didn't seem like if you were just doing like Descendants,
yeah,
Bad Religion, whatever, like maybe it wouldn't be too interesting to watch. But
yeah. I mean,
I
that stuff's cool. It's really cool, but just
absolutely love it. Some of my
yeah,
favorite records ever. Yeah.
absolutely. But I mean, even the stuff I've got, it's not too deep, but maybe records that don't get talked about enough, maybe. So
Same. Yeah, definitely nothing like super, super deep. Just
not
yeah,
super deep, kind of just safely middle of the road, like kind of right.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Tony,
It,
you want to start us off with your first pick? What do you got?
well, I wanted to say that
Okay, go ahead.
even though I said I didn't want to, I wasn't trying to bring any like super heavy hitters that have already been talked into the ground. I
Right.
couldn't because I named the store after a song on it. I had to at least break out New Day Rising,
Yeah.
so as like a stone cold classic and like pretty much perfect example of this style of stuff.
Is
So
that your favorite Husker Du record?
it's really weird. I think this and Flip Your Wig and Candy Apple Gray
I
are the
like
record.
those two too. Like, I really
I
like the a little bit more poppy stuff.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't always. We're gonna start with some making people mad right off the jump, but
Cool. Go ahead.
even yeah, like I feel like Zen Arcade is a little
It's a little
overrated,
bloated. It's a little bloated. Yeah.
bloated. I reach for this and Flip Your Wig and
Um,
Candy Apple Gray
Me too.
more
Where
than
I'm absolutely with you. And the guitar sound on that record is crazy.
yeah, definitely. It's
It's
amazing.
almost like, how can I say it? It's like almost like My Bloody Valentine, or like not confused, but that kind of really like just super distorted, like psychedelic, like it sounds out of tune as well,
It
which is
sounds like it's coming out of like a television, like a static television
it's
burst.
unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy.
Really, I don't know anything about instruments or recording, but like, yeah, the guitar on that record sounds really weird.
Yeah, it
Like,
does remind me of like My Bloody Valentine. It kind of sounds like a little bit out of tune and stuff. It's is that
yep.
is that actually one of your picks or just like an intro?
Yeah, just an intro. I just
Okay,
wanted to throw it
all right,
out there. But
cool.
my first actual
All right,
pick,
all right.
I'm pushing that pretty wide. I chose this one just because I think it gets overlooked a lot, and that
Okay.
is I think the Rick Agnew
Um,
solo record,
never seen that.
appropriately titled "All by Myself." He plays every instrument, and yeah, it's
Wow,
amazing. Um, it came out in 1982, I guess, so maybe he
82.
recorded it
Wow.
late 182. So somebody in the comments could correct us, but
Yeah.
maybe the first like punk solo record,
He
like
played
just
like he
as
played all the instruments.
yeah, all the instruments are him, wrote all the songs,
Wow.
and it's great. Some of them, yeah, OC Life was later, I guess, recorded by DI.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think there's actually another one of these songs is also on a later DI record, but these versions are just great. They're like super awesome, and
He looks amazing as well.
yeah. So I think this is like a really cool. Edward Culver took this photo, and he took all the photos for the Christian Death record,
Ah,
which I was
there you go.
just before I logged on. I was looking, and it looks like Only Theater of Pain, which Rick Agnew also plays
He
on,
does. Yeah.
is also 1982, and the difference. So we have him here on the
Yeah.
cover of this, but same year, uh, holding the mummified dead
Wow.
cat with much more goth.
I'm
goth.
guessing he was sort of, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but he might have been sort of asked to kind of change his image a little bit for that.
I don't know. Yeah, Edward Culver took both pictures and they're amazing. So, but yeah, really catchy record. Some really cool keyboards on it that aren't on the re-recorded versions.
Right.
You know, when Ti did them, and yeah, overlooked, but he still plays. And I want to say before the lockdown, before COVID and stuff, maybe sometime just in the last year before that, he played some shows, and people were saying that it was great. That it was really, really awesome. So.
Don't want to use the word underrated, but he is a really amazing guitarist, right?
Yeah, super, super, super great guitarist. So
yeah, that's cool. I've never seen that before. I'll definitely check it out.
What do you got?
All right, I'm gonna go in alphabetical order. Some people might like the earlier records by this band, but this is my favorite. Articles of Faith, Give Thanks. I think it's their second LP.
So good, absolutely.
And tying in with your first thing, it's produced by Bob Mould.
Yep.
I first had this like on a cassette tape. I was in the tape trading days, like a bunch of like demos, and then someone taped like on the end of side A, someone put the first side of this record on, and on the beginning of side B, they put side two. So that's how I first heard this. But remember, like and it was the wrong way around too. So it's weird. So in my mind, this is wrong because like my original tape version was the other way around. So it's weird. Like when I got it the record, but 5 o'clock, the first song on side 2 is just crazy. I mean, it's definitely a hardcore record, but it has those kind of melodic sensibilities.
Absolutely.
Incredible guitar playing. I don't know who the guitarist is, but like really sort of jagged, like guitar playing on it.
It's not like it doesn't fit into a necessarily tight box of just hardcore or just it really is doing its own thing. It's a cool record.
I love Vic Bondi's vocals, but I guess like after Articles of Faith broke up, he did that other band. Oh god, Alloy,
and
which
maybe
is really another band, right?
Yeah, Alloy and Jonesberry, maybe.
That's it. And they were kind of, I think they were big in Germany because Bitscore Records like were putting out all their records. I don't think they were doing much business in the States. So.
I think I saw Alloy once. I think Alloy played in Baltimore once, but I'd have to dig back in the flyers to see. But I'm pretty sure I caught Alloy. Never saw Articles of Faith.
That was a bit more almost going into college rock territory, not hardcore. I wouldn't call Alloy or Jonesberry hardcore. More mid.
The Jonesberry record was on Jade Tree.
Was it really?
And maybe I think, and maybe just a 7-inch, but
yeah, I know a lot of hardcore punks sort of like don't like this record. It's like it's all about the first 7-inch or whatever. But this is.
I'm definitely not going to piss on that first 7-inch. It rules.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to pull that off the shelf. I have it back there. Yeah, I would pull that off of the shelf first.
It's amazing, but this is my sort of favorite Articles of Faith record.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. Didn't look it up.
Cover to that.
Early 80s. This is German pressing. Bitscore.
Bitscore.
Cool. Big in Germany.
Oh yeah.
All right, Tony. What you got next?
Well, not too far from where you were. Also, a kind of color scheme is similar here. I picked Naked Raygun, Understand, and it's really kind of crazy, kind of Mad Max-ish.
That is I always thought that was a little bit of an odd jacket.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. It almost looks like it's not, but it almost looks like some kind of Ed Repka painting, sort of. But
or a kind of bad 80s heavy metal record.
Yep.
Yeah,
it looked like Mad Max, themed, but yeah, I absolutely love this record. I mean, all the Naked Raygun records, I love them. They're also not easily put into the box of just one style at all. Not even just melodic or hardcore, but like they kind of really were doing their own thing. I love this record. Really. Workmen like. There's not a lot of flourishes going.
Did you ever see them back in the day?
No, I saw them when they did a reunion though. They played in Baltimore, maybe 2008 or 9 or something like that. Again, I would have to check the records, but I did see them at least, sometime in the most recent, maybe like 8 years or something. I
saw them like once or twice around that era in England.
Right.
And absolutely like goosebumps, hairs stand on the back of the neck. I mean, they played in a tiny little club, and people were like laughing at them because like think about it. It was the '80s, punk. Everyone's spiked hair, and
Yeah.
and these guys were just like super, like super smart, casual, good-looking guys. But they took it in their stride. They were giving it back, as good as they
Yeah.
could take. And
Just huge. I mean, like just giant choruses that
oh
come out of nowhere and just like crash over, and it's just like
yeah.
amazing. And there's so many over the records. It was hard to even understand
Hang on,
because
hang on. What was the one before that? The Naked Reagan album before that one. That's
Edison.
the that one is just beautiful.
So
Yeah,
it was hard. I had it out because I couldn't choose which one to discuss.
yeah.
But
So
I mean, it's
yeah, at the
outrageous.
time, like Understand was a little bit like of an Iron Fist Ace of Spades situation, like back in the day. It felt like a step down, but actually now in retrospect, it isn't actually. It's equal. Just as good as. Right.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like, I mean, that's the thing. Is so much about music is just when, at what
When
point in your life you discover it.
or which
Is
one
like,
you heard first, and this, that, and the other.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and also
There's
like
been
a bit,
I,
the bass playing is kind of not underrated, but it's very important. Really big bass sound
yeah.
on Naked Reagan, and then Peg Boy, which
I
Peg
mean,
Boy, who I
when we
also
get to the
saw.
90s,
Hmm.
when we get to the 90s,
Okay,
Peg,
okay, sorry. It is the
love,
90s.
I absolutely love Peg Boys so much. No,
Yeah,
no, no. I was saying like we could just go on a tangent and just
yeah,
fully
yeah.
just.
I mean, I saw them.
I love.
I think twice as well in England. Same thing. It was just like, oh, so good.
I saw them at the end when they did the. Well, I guess they play again now, but I saw them when they did that tour for that final record. Is it like a Cha Cha Delamore?
Okay, yeah, it's a bit. That one's not quite as good as the first.
Right, but the tour. I mean, they just came out like raging, just
Oh,
pure energy,
and the
and
singer is this like real big guy, and the song, and he was like just not a
yes,
violent performance, but real like in your face, like grabbing people and like
yeah. I remember being like taken aback, like seeing them and just being like, "Holy shit!" Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
going, and
really, really, really powerful. Yeah,
they were absolutely amazing. So yeah, Naked Raygun and Pig Boy. I mean, both underrated, both no frills.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know it's member of. It's like the one guy, like one of them, Haggerty. I can't remember.
I
But
think it's the drummer and the bassist. Oh no,
the bassist.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't. Yeah,
but they like. I mean, yeah, just pure power
yeah.
and frills. No like punk style.
Uh,
Just
just,
basically like gas station attendant
yeah,
Jack
yeah, yeah,
style.
yeah, 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 yeah. Which it's like, oh, it was a bit jarring, for us young punks back in the day. It's like, who are these guys? It's like, but no,
Yeah,
um, yeah, amazing,
awesome.
great. Oh, I guess it's my turn.
Your turn.
My turn. Sorry. So I'm gonna pick. I couldn't like you. You did choose one. I'm not gonna choose one. I'm gonna choose two by the same band.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's no rules here.
there's no rules. I make the rules.
No rules.
Government issue.
Ah, love
You
them. Love them.
and Crash. I think they
Yeah.
both fit today's theme. Although some people might say that these are kind of hard rock records. There's a lot of hard rock in them. The guitar tone sounds like AC/DC, like huge sound. It's like major label, like Giant Records.
Giant records, yeah.
So tight. And just the John Stab, he sounds like Dave Vanian, like the Damned style vocals and a little bit of the psychedelic guitar and like
I don't think any of that's an accident.
yeah, wow. And then just huge, huge. I mean, it's like stadium hardcore. It's like you could picture these songs being played in a huge stadium and
Yeah.
people liking them, catchy, but fast too. Like songs like Wishing, crazy fast, like kind of Motorhead speed. And
I feel like maybe there was a Husker Du influence on them as well. You know what I mean? At this
yeah,
time, it kind of shifts, kind of almost trying to sound like that a little bit
right.
as well. But yeah, just love. Yeah, both of those records are
And
insane.
yeah, the consensus is that Crash is not as good as you. I think they're just as good as each other, to be honest with you. Because they made this, they had a car crash on tour in Europe.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's I think a couple of members were quite badly injured, and the title track is about the crash, and that's why they called the record
I
Crash.
didn't know that at all.
And
I do.
mm,
I agree with you about both of those records. I tend to play them together. Like
yeah,
either, Doctor Strange did like CD discographies,
okay,
and either I listen to the second one of those, which I think contains both of those, or I just play the records, kind of back to back because it's hard to pick,
right.
which one. So
And talking about the crash, the car crash, I think the story behind You is a little bit dark. I think it's about John Stabb's kind of infatuation with a much younger woman.
oh,
I think that's the
I
backstory
like
of
that.
this record. So there's some darkness. It is a kind of dark record. It's kind of upbeat, but there is
Mhm.
a definite darkness
Yeah.
hanging over the whole
The
record.
artwork is, I love, I mean, the artwork for that one especially. I do like the artwork, the LP cover for You
Yeah,
more than Crash. Yeah,
yeah,
You
yeah.
is.
It's really simple but effective. Amazing band. One of the bands, like, again, it's one of those bands that people are gonna say, oh, first couple of singles only, and then they
Yeah,
all
no,
went. No,
yeah.
for me, it's the other way around. Like,
I
I
think
just
a lot of our feelings are similar in that the later kind of weird
yeah,
left
yeah.
turn records are
These
the
are
ones
absolute
that
like
are,
classics. I mean, real like top tier like records.
yeah, yeah, they're
Couple
both
of
amazing
you
records. So,
Crash,
yeah.
lovely stuff. All right, Tony, what's up next?
Let's see. I'm moving along pretty fast here.
That's good.
These guys, so I
Mm.
kind of, in a slightly different direction, I chose uh, White Flag
Oh,
0 Hour, which is kind of weird all over the place. I love White Flag. They started off being like a proper hardcore band, I
mm,
guess, and then as they slowly moved on, it appears to me that they discovered Cheap Trick and Kiss in pretty big doses,
yeah,
and
yeah.
at some point, the later White Flag records are really poppy and psychedelic kind of tinged records. But in the middle, yeah, there's still like a really healthy dose of like punk sounding, like
Yeah.
raw recording stuff, but definitely a huge, more than Kiss, I think, Cheap Trick,
Cheap Trick. Yeah,
which I'm a huge Cheap Trick fan,
me
and I
too.
love
So
kind
the
of
punk
stuff.
punk Cheap Trick. It's like
Yeah. And yeah, this record, it's weird. I've never seen it on CD. It's not on any streaming.
mm,
Um, the songs, though, the problem with White Flag or collecting them or trying to assess their thing is that it seems like they re-recorded a lot of songs and put them on different records.
yeah.
So like a bunch of the songs on this record are also on this record, Wild Kingdom,
Okay.
but not all of them. And some,
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's like really strange.
mm.
Positive Force put this one out, and I think a German label put this one out.
Big in
So
Germany.
yeah, but this one, I think that the versions that are on Wild Kingdom are like more punk sounding on this one or whatever. And yeah, it's just really fun, just like high rockin', you know, Cheap Trick Kiss, but also hardcore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And of course, like a big sense of humor. Although I think in these later records,
Mm.
not quite. I know you're not a fan of the funny
Funny punk.
funny punk. I know you don't love it. I feel like the earlier White Flag records have more of that, and as it moves on, there's much less
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
that kind of stuff
yeah.
on the record, and
Were
you just
they
get some really killer songs.
were they a bit sort of controversial back in the day?
Well, I think, and again, I was not
Mm.
there. I think the deal is they started off just trying really hard to upset and kind of troll, like kind of like the California punks. I
That's
mean,
what I thought.
name right, the name White Flag,
Yeah,
flat out, is just like you know a kind of
yeah,
fuck you to the
yeah,
punk. And then I think they had some pro police songs and some pro religion, kind of like, I
yeah,
think they were kind of like really trying to like
yeah.
uh, the
Mm,
the punks. I think they
yeah.
were.
Well,
And
mm,
at a certain point, it seems like that stuff kind of fell off, and they just kind of
okay.
became like
Uh,
just the kind of band that they became. But they seem to exist in that scene with Red Cross a lot, like White Flag, Red Cross, Shonen Knife,
some
and they just kind of,
similarities musically with
and
that.
I think they would do like side bands and stuff
Mm.
together. I think there's a band called Tater Tots,
I've
and
heard
it's
of
like
them. Yeah.
Shonen Knife and Red Cross and White Flag like all together. So
Yeah.
you know.
So when I think of White Flag, I think Flipside.
Oh yeah, and they do the theme song. Yeah, the
Just the
flip side
Flipside
theme song.
magazine stuff. White Flag is like totally LA, like totally Flipside. Like Flipside
Yeah,
used to weird me out because I was buying Maximum Rock and Roll, which is one thing, and then you should check out this magazine Flipside, and I just didn't understand it. It's all LA and like glam and like sleaze and like White Flag, and I didn't get it at all.
yeah,
hmm,
yeah. It's definitely Flip side was a really. I mean, they threw the net really wide
yeah,
for Flip side. You know what I mean? In those later ones in the '90s, Flip side was really weird because it would just be like Helmet, Man is the Bastard, and then Primus, and you're just like,
uh, yeah.
what's
I
going on?
didn't, I didn't
There's
make it
some
that
really
far.
weird,
Hmm,
yeah, really weird issues. But yeah, White Flag is kind of in that realm, and
yeah, yeah.
I they're kind of a weird like. I mean, they had a following,
Hmm,
but kind of I think of them as like a cultish
hmm,
kind of like only a kind of small amount of
hmm.
people really love them, but those people really love them. Like
Well,
I have
hmm,
like a pile of singles and like every record I can get my hands on and like think about them and like what would they have done? I think about them all the time, so I get kind of like really, obsessed with them.
yeah. So it's funny because Tony in England, so my introduction to White Flag was that Sergeant Pepper's LP.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Which
yep.
I didn't know it's a compilation, but I didn't know. I just thought it was like one of their regular LPs. But that was put out by this label called Wet Spots.
What spot?
I
Okay.
feel and I feel like the people that did that have some kind of connection to some of the stuff we were talking about in the UK episode. I could be wrong. That band Filler did that
Surprise.
7-inch band called
Hmm.
Filler, like on Fourth Dimension Records. I want to say that I don't know. There might be some connection with that, but yeah,
It would be no surprise. And
yeah,
in addition to like Cheap Trick and Kiss, White Flag seems super obsessed with like the Beatles and
yeah.
psychedelic stuff. I mean, they play. It says that Pat Fear played. Uh, sorry, I'm trying to say here.
Mm.
Yeah, I just lost it. The instrument that George Harrison introduced to the Beatles.
Oh, the sitar,
Sitar, yeah. Pat Fear
rhymes with
plays
guitar,
sitar.
kind of.
Yeah, he plays sitar on some of these.
Okay.
I just couldn't remember what a sitar was for a second, or what it was called. He plays that on
Yeah,
some of the.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like kind of Beatles psychedelic
Yeah, absolutely.
influences. I
Yeah,
always just thought was really bizarre, and it's like, is it there just to make the punks mad, or who
maybe.
knows? I kind of love it
I
though.
never found out where all the tracks from Sergeant Pepper's come from. Are they like from singles or like compilations? But it doesn't sound like a compilation. It sounds like a fully formed LP. It's weird. I don't know.
That's the problem is like they just re-recorded songs and they would just
Yeah,
put them on all these. It was like anybody that wanted to put out a White Flag record
mm,
could.
good.
So they're just like so many of them, and yeah, they're like I'll buy them and just be like, oh, that track's on this other thing, but in a different version,
Okay.
or so.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Next up for me, this is like one of my all-time favorite records, any genre. Moving Targets, Burning War,
Awesome.
Led Zeppelin T-shirt on. That's a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what can I say about this record? The drumming is some of the best drumming on a hardcore record I think I've ever heard. It's absolutely fucking off the charts. And I think he was a classically trained jazz drummer.
That's amazing.
I could be wrong.
Did not know.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it. Um, Kind of jangly guitar tone. The singer, I'm blanking on his name right now. Sorry, has that kind of
Yeah.
really sort of melodic, warm tone to his voice. It's beautiful. Every song's a classic. Um, this is like actually it's Ken Chambers. It says right here, vocals and guitar, Ken Chambers. And Pat Brady was a drummer, but yeah, I guess a Boston area band didn't fit into the Boston hardcore
Nope, not at
scene
all.
at
But
the time.
so
I
good.
mean, I wasn't there,
Did
but
Tang put out those
yeah,
records?
this is on Tang. This is a repress. The original has a different cover.
I don't have that one at all. When we were discussing all this, I pulled out my Moving Targets record, which is the
Mm,
one that's like maybe the one right after that, or even the one further past that.
right.
played it a couple of times because I hadn't listened to it. But now it's making me feel like I really should own that one. I don't know why I don't, but yeah, I don't have a copy of that one.
I played this record. I had some guests around a few years ago. Like they just came around to my house and we were just sitting around like having some beers and they're like, I'll put a record on. And I just randomly pulled this out without showing what it was.
Right.
And the woman, she's German, going back to the German theme running through this. It's like, she just stood up bolt and was like, this is my favorite record of all time. So, seriously. And I was like, wow, it's one of mine too. And she's like, there's nothing that sounds like this. It's a bit Husker-Du-ish, but it's got its own thing. I think I like this better than Husker-Du, but we'll not go there. But yeah, she's like, oh, this is my favorite record of all time. I can't believe you have this record. And I was like, wow, me too. It's like,
that's awesome. I have to get a copy of that. I don't know why I don't. I own a record store. I have no excuse.
It kind of starts off a bit like the first song is not the best song. It's kind of got this really kind of jangly riff, and it's a bit more restrained, but it really builds up a tension like throughout the whole record. And yeah, it's beautiful. So Moving Targets, Burning in Water, with Kenny Chambers in the Led Zeppelin 1 t-shirt.
I remember, as a quick aside, I remember when I was over, the last time I was over at your house.
When I was injured and couldn't walk?
No, after that. But me and Jesse also, and you guys were drinking, gotta keep it straight edge, but you guys were drinking and you broke out Thin Lizzy Renegade. And that's what we listened to. And I was just like, why don't I own this record? This is amazing. And so I immediately, upon coming home, I bought a copy of Renegade, which I somehow didn't have. And now it's one of my favorites. So your apartment beer session.
That's another record that I got a little bit of abuse about on YouTube because it's like, I think it was my second favorite, and everyone's like, this guy sucks. He doesn't know anything about Thin Lizzy. Fuck this guy. It's like, sorry, Renegade is amazing. It's really dark. Anyway, another topic, another day.
Yeah, you're really polluting my mind with Renegade. But no, I love it. Absolutely. Now it's one of my all-time favorites.
Cool. So, Tony, let's not go down the Thin Lizzy road. What have we got next in your pile?
Is it me?
It's your turn, yeah.
Yeah. So I took a little bit of a turn here.
Okay.
But I chose Zero Boys, Vicious Circle, which is, in my mind, basically like one of the all-time, I would put it like top 5, top 4 maybe, punk records of all time. I love it so much. I got an excuse to listen to it a bunch of times this week, thinking about this, and no bad songs. Like recording, I love the art, I love the yellow cover.
It's cool. Yeah,
it's perfect. Like I can't think of a single thing wrong with it. It's like absolutely hardcore, but absolutely melodic. But it's like never exactly pop punk. It's just I don't know how they did it.
When did that come out? Like 80?
I don't, it doesn't say, but it's
early 80s though, right?
This version is the, so it's weird, like I guess it's been reissued a few times. This version is the Nimrod version, so it's actually, but it's been reissued once with a bunch of tracks that they did for the master tape compilation.
All right.
And it was reissued again without those, but with a couple of tracks that I think the label complained that it was too poppy. The last 2 songs, it's like I think it's Slam and Worm and the other one's gonna escape me. But Slam and Worm and whatever the other song is, that's on all the I want to say that there's a label in Canada, I don't know if it's Canada, Secretly maybe did a new version of a new reissue of this, and it has those. It doesn't have, I don't think it has the master tape compilation songs, but it has the those 2 unreleased songs, and they're great. They're catchy, they fit on perfectly, and Zero Boys, I love everything about it.
There's a second LP, right?
There is,
which going back to our Big in Germany theme, Bitscore Records put that out. I think they weren't doing any business in the States.
Yeah, it has a weird orange colored cover. I have it. They tried to record a second album and it didn't work out. And so a bunch of those songs on another recent compilation LP that has like everything that's not on this, and those songs that they wrote for the second LP. And then I think when that second LP actually came out, which is like way later.
Yeah,
I
way
think
later. Yeah, late 80s maybe.
Yep, I think they re-recorded some of those songs again, and they kind of like lose some
Yeah, and I think that's all like German, like Bitscore.
Yeah,
business.
It's definitely that one is on Bitscore. I don't think anybody's ever reissued that other record. It's called. I have it over there. I can't remember what it's called.
All right.
But yes, but there are that one and the compilation.
Okay.
Is those are both available, and it's almost everything that you would know.
Are they a Minneapolis band?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Chicago. Minneapolis. No.
I should know these things.
Sorry, I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Internet will bring this for sure. I did get to see them. They played when Brandon did No Way Fest, maybe 2004. I can't remember what year it was. The Zero Boys played, and they played with like basically what I would consider like kind of the best of like the contemporary bands. Like they played like Government Warning and Direct Control and Double Negative and like these bands that are like, you know, that were really good. And the Zero Boys, not only did they hold their own, I mean, they kind of like, I want to say they kind of wiped the floor with like everybody. They really, really killed.
That's cool.
Nice. People went crazy for them, so they were awesome.
Cool.
Pretty old at that point too, I think.
Yeah, like my age.
I don't know. I mean, like I'm 47.
All right, I'm going to move on to my next pick.
I think they were older than both of us at that point, but they killed. So.
All right, cool. All right, so my next pick, I guess, same kind of ballpark as Moving Targets, but a little bit more Husker Du-ish than Moving Targets. And again, I breaking the rules. I chose both. Breaking my own rules.
Yeah.
First LP, and then second LP, Skag Heaven. This is another one that I first got on a tape. I had a couple of friends who are, you know, back in the 80s who are really into Husker Du. And so they were always on the lookout for like anything that was kind of vaguely Husker Du sounding. And they really, I mean, this is obviously 80s, no internet. You just had fanzines. And so they found all this stuff, you know. And so one day, one of these guys, he was like, look what I've got. I was like, what's that? And he's like, this band called Squirrel Bait. I mail ordered it, or, you know, from somewhere. And it's amazing. And we listened to it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is amazing. It's like,
those are great. Yeah. Homestead Records, I think, put those out. And I think or at least at some point, they got printed, you know.
Yeah, these are both on Homestead. There's a repress of this. And I got the repress too. I kept both. But like, this does have a like 1 foot, like slightly in college radio, indie rock, but it doesn't matter. And they were really, really young too, like really young, like
I didn't know,
like crazy, like 13, 14. One of the members I think was like crazy young. And then of course, like they went on, they broke up, and then they formed that band Slint, right?
Oh, this Slint, yep.
Yeah, which is totally different.
I don't think I knew that connection. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly who, if it's all the members or two of the members, but totally different. But you can there is kind of like some clues in these records that they might go in a different direction later. Yeah. But again, like kind of jangly guitar, super fast drum playing, kind of Bob Mould, Husker Du type vocals. But I think this is the better one. This is slightly better, but this is also good too. Like so.
Yeah, I don't own either of them, but when I do listen to them again, have my record store card pulled, just you know, CD collection, Spotify style, like just check them out. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but both of those are records that I still like as much as I did when I heard that Friends copy on a crappy old record player in like 1986 or whatever it was. So, yeah.
The artwork is really cool in both of those. So
yeah, this is really kind of indie rock for me. Yeah, this one is more like kind of naked. I don't know. Like, it could be a Naked Reagan record. It looks like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. Homestead Records, not a hardcore label, right? So yeah.
Well, Homestead put out a lot of. They put out Sonic Youth, right?
Yeah.
and a handful of other things. Was it the Cosley?
They put out a lot of records. Volcano Suns,
Volcano.
Big Dipper. Maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing,
Yeah.
But very kind of more.
The internet will tell us.
It will. Someone will tell us. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. What you got next? I've got like one more. You've probably got one more.
Wrap it up with one of my all-time favorites. I'll say this.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. All Rose Revenge, not loved as a band by many people. There's the Filmage documentary, and in that documentary,
it's amazing. That's that's a great documentary. Yeah.
Fat Mike of NoFX says he says that you will not find a single person on this earth that likes All more than the Descendants. He is wrong.
Wrong. There you are. There he is, staring us in the face.
Bring on the hate. I am that person. Again, I could just be playing slightly contrarian here. I absolutely love the Descendants, but I am a huge All fan, and I love all these records. All Roy's Revenge is weird because previous to this, the first two All records have Dave Smalley on vocals.
Yep.
They're like super poppy. They're like really catchy. I don't want to say all the weird edges are rubbed off, but like they're definitely a more palatable listening experience.
Absolutely.
And once they get Scott for this record, it starts to get weird.
That's when like the kind of jazzy stuff comes in, and
some of it was there on the Descendants All record. It just seemed like they kind of like skipped using that stuff a lot for the first two All records, and then once Dave left, they were like, well, there's no reason to pretend anymore. Let's just let the freak flag fly. And they really let it go, on this record, and then even more so on the record after it. But this one has some great pop songs, some great actual hardcore songs.
Bubblegum is a good song. What else?
Check One is super fast, and like pretty ripping. She's My Ex is on it, which is like kind of a classic through the years of.
It's a single of that, right? I think like 10
as well. Yeah.
I like Scary Sad.
Scary Sad, so good. So kind of dark,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love them more than the Descendants. The hate can flow. I can absorb the hate.
They got to edit that documentary. That you'll find one guy in the world.
One guy, he lives in Baltimore.
I bought that record when it came out, and I and I had the previous two as well before that. I couldn't get into it at first. It's kind of but it's now my favorite All record actually.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's a real grower. I couldn't get it at the time. It was like the weird bits we were talking about. It's like
those guys, like Bill and those dudes, they were listening to like the jazz that we listen to now. I just wasn't ready for.
Not exactly. Me neither.
I was not. Yeah, I was not ready for that. I wasn't ready for that.
No, me neither. Early 20s me did not want to hear all that like noodling and stuff. No. But now, bring it on.
I know.
Now it sounds normal. Now that I've got all these like jazz fusion records, it's like they should have done more. Like
and they go crazy. The record after it, All Roy Saves is like I want to say I have an issue of Flipside where it is voted because of that record. They're voted band to finally give up on. Like that's it. Like they took it too far.
The world is so like it's like so narrow-minded so often. It's like let's just stay in this box, and if it's a little bit different, it's not punk. Anyway,
I love the fact that it's super different. It's weird. There's clearly jazz and fusion elements all over this record, but the record is still punk, and it still has really catchy songs. So,
question for the world's #1 All fan: who is your favorite All singer? Who's your favorite?
So Scott was the one that I saw first.
Me too. I saw them. Sorry, in England, I saw them with Scott too. He was wild. Like he had like his shorts like taped up with like masking tape and everything. Like it's like
Yeah, I saw them do a 2-night stand at the old 930 Club, and the first night All opened up and Bad Religion headlined on the Generator tour. So it was like 1990, I think. And then the next night, Bad Religion opened up and All headlined. So I got to see basically 2 perfect Bad Religion sets
Wow.
because of like every song that I would want to hear. It was like 40 song set list or something both nights, and then yeah, all killing it, both nights as well. So
Yeah.
I always have a very close spot in my heart for Scott because he was the first singer that I saw, and I bought those records as they came out, and I love them. But if you were pushing me, I really, really love Chad.
Okay.
Chad I really do. So I don't know, hard to pick, but
I've only seen them with Scott, but like one time in Bristol, they were really bad. But then another time in TJ's in Newport, they were amazing. I don't know what happened at that Bristol gig, but really leaden. Like the songs were really slow, and I think they played with Doctor and the Crippins that gig. Maybe I could be.
Got some Doctor and the Crippins records hanging out back there. We'll save that.
Moving swiftly along.
Weird. Yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is my last choice. Again, I've broken my own rule that wasn't there in the first place, but Bay Area band, I think, San Francisco, Social Unrest.
Yeah, Social Unrest. It's so amazing.
I feel like a band that doesn't really get talked about too much. I don't know, maybe they do. These records are really long. I like that sounds kind of negative, but maybe it is a bit negative. But what's his name? Jason Honey has a really distinctive voice, like a really amazing. He's a really amazing singer.
That SU 2000 one, I don't think I've ever heard. The other one I own for sure. One, I don't think I've ever.
This one,
I don't think I've ever listened to that.
This is the one after this.
Okay, so that's the first one.
I don't. This isn't their first album. Like Rat in a Maze, 12-inch. Again, another one. A lot of people will say, well, they gave up even before these. The 7-inch and the first 12-inch only.
Yeah.
Like too melodic or too poppy or whatever. But I like.
You know me. I'm ready to take that trip.
Actually, the best one, which I didn't like at the time, is the one like after this. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry. It's got a Buzzcocks cover on it, which I wasn't enamored with back in the day. But I listened to it the other day on YouTube. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful record. But yeah, really long. Like there's 8 songs on side 1. Some really like fast songs, and then they'll throw in like a real slow like dirge as well, like a couple of times during the record. But yeah, I think it's a band that doesn't get talked about very much. But I kind of feel like they were kind of a precursor to that kind of East Bay, like American steel, kind of blue collar, influenced by Leatherface and Stiff Little Fingers kind of world.
Yep.
But
I'm gonna have to investigate. I'm gonna have to investigate some of those later. Yeah, Social Unrest records, because I'm not as familiar with those, so I'm gonna check that out.
Definitely influenced by maybe Stiff Little Fingers, and as I said, they did the Buzzcocks cover, but very distinctive vocalist, just good band. Yeah,
sounds awesome.
And that's the end of my picks. Have you got any also rans in the pile?
Well, I pulled out a whole bunch of stuff. We threw the net so far that I wasn't even sure. You know what I mean? I was just like, I knew I didn't want to just be like 7 seconds Gorilla Biscuit. But then on the other end of the spectrum, I was like, oh, is this not melodic enough?
Me too. I was like, even with that Social Unrest, I was like, does this count? But
yeah, I pulled like this Life Sentence record.
That's great. I love that record.
Yeah, I love it. And I got to see them also. I caught them right before the second record came out, and I love them. I mean, it's one of my favorite, I love this cover. And I mean, it's not really melodic in the same sense as some of this other stuff that we're talking about.
Kind of like reminds me of that Stalag 13 record, like influenced by like Minor Threat, but like
I feel like there's a 7 seconds.
7 seconds.
I feel like we're definitely trying to roll 7 second style for a little bit. You know what I mean? Right. And it's weird. I actually was gonna add the second record, but I don't have it for some reason. But I was gonna also MIA.
Man, I love that record.
Yeah, it's great. I love it as well. And the second one, there's a compilation, I guess, they did called After the Fact, and I think it has everything. Maybe.
Yeah,
but
that's a really good band. That's a great record. That was one of the ones that my Husker Du friends kind of sought out, like back in the day. It's like, Like, yeah.
I love it. And I think this, maybe not on this record, but maybe the other record, the dude that later went on to be in Big Drill Car, the other all kind of cruise
Yeah.
band, was on that second record to the end, maybe.
Okay.
But I don't have it handy, so
All
I
right.
can't find. Yeah, maybe Frank Dolly, or
Okay.
again, I gotta leave it to the comments. But somebody will know. But yeah, those two. Yeah, the Life Sentence and MIA were definitely records that I pulled out to listen.
Yeah. They're both
I
great.
wasn't sure which way we were gonna lay with this stuff, but
I think it worked out really well. Okay, Tony, we could go on for hours, so
I know we'll do some more.
we will after I press stop. We probably will, but I think for the viewers watching, it's time to reel it in. That was great. It's always amazing talking to you.
Thanks so
So,
much for having me, Mike. I really
yeah,
appreciate it.
we'll do some more kind of like less wide episodes in the future, right?
We get super
Narrow it down.
specific.
Yeah, like,
We'll have the 40-minute white flag.
yeah, or like records from January 1981 or something like that. I don't know. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay healthy and stay clean.